It was 6:45 a.m. when 22-year-old Emily Carter awoke in her Seattle hostel room, tucked under warm covers. The sun peeked through the half-drawn blinds, and the scent of cheap lavender air freshener lingered in the air. She stretched, yawned, then turned toward her roommate's bed. That's when everything changed. Lying stiffly on the opposite bunk was Madison Blake, 23, a tourist from Texas. Her eyes were open, lips slightly parted, her body unnaturally still. Emily blinked, confused. "Madison," she whispered. No answer. Her voice cracked as she called, "Again?" Still nothing. Emily leaped down, gently shook Madison's shoulder, but it was ice cold. She screamed. Other hostile guests rushed in, followed by the manager. Emergency services arrived within minutes. Paramedics pronounced Madison dead. On the spot, no visible wounds, no blood, no noise heard the night before. "She was fine last night," Emily kept saying, trembling. "We even stayed up talking about her travel blog and plans to hike Rainier next week." Police taped off the room, treating it as a potential crime scene. How could someone die silently, in the presence of another and leave no trace? Emily's nightmare was only beginning. Detective Laura McKinney arrived within the hour. A seasoned investigator with the Seattle PD, she took one look at Madison's pale face and immediately ordered a forensic sweep. Emily sat on the edge of her bed, wrapped in a hostile blanket, sipping trembling sips of water. "Tell me everything from last night," Laura said. Emily recounted how they had returned from dinner at a local Thai place around 9 p.m. Madison had been chatty, vibrant. She had shown Emily pictures from her trip to Portland. Nothing unusual. No arguments, no drugs. Laura frowned. "You didn't hear anything? See anyone come in?" "No, I'm a light sleeper. I would have woken up." There was no sign of forced entry. Madison's phone, passport, and bag were untouched. Toxicology would take weeks, but something felt off. The forensic team found a faint smear on the inner window, locked like someone had touched it with a gloved hand. Laura turned to Emily. "We might be looking at a stealth intrusion. Someone wanted her dead without making a sound." And Emily, she may have been the closest witness without even knowing it. Later that day, Madison's suitcase was opened for evidence. Neatly folded clothes, a hiking journal, granola bars. But under a false bottom lining, they found something a stack of old photographs and a sealed envelope labeled "If anything happens to me." Laura opened the envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter. "They found me. I tried to start over. If you're reading this, it's too late." The letter wasn't signed, but the handwriting matched a journal in the suitcase. Madison had been hiding something. Back at the station, Laura dug deeper into Madison Blake's background. She hadn't just been a tourist, she had once testified in a criminal case in Texas involving a tech CEO accused of assault and stalking. After the trial, she changed her name. Madison Blake wasn't her real identity. "This isn't just a random death," Laura said. She was running. Emily, now being held at the station for further questioning, was stunned. "She never told me anything about this. She seemed so normal." But someone had tracked Madison down. Someone who knew how to get in and out without a trace. The hostel's front desk clerk Diego remembered something odd. Around 1 a.m., a man had walked in claiming he left his wallet in room 212. Emily and Madison's room. "I told him I couldn't let him in without ID," Diego said. He insisted. Madison had invited him earlier. Diego hadn't let him through, but he left a name in the logbook. Jeremy Fields. Laura ran the name. No local matches. But an old Texas DMV file popped up. Jeremy Fieldson, a private security contractor with known ties to the same tech CEO Madison, had once testified against. Things were escalating. Surveillance footage showed Jeremy loitering in the alley behind the hostel an hour later, but then, nothing. He vanished. Had he somehow bypassed security? Climbed in through the fire escape? Forensics confirmed someone had tampered with the room's window latch. Emily broke into tears. "So I really was sleeping while someone, murdered her." Laura nodded grimly. "And you're lucky you weren't next." A killer had come. For Madison. But why now? And what was he still looking for? Despite being a potential witness, Emily's calm demeanor began raising suspicions. A former roommate of Madison's contacted police, revealing Emily had been sending Madison strange, emotionally charged emails months ago. "I thought she was obsessed with me," the roommate said, "but I let it go." When Laura confronted Emily, her story slightly changed. She now said she did wake briefly around 3 a.m., hearing what she thought was Madison talking in her sleep. "You didn't say that before," Laura said sharply. "I didn't think it mattered," Emily whispered. Laura ordered a deeper forensic sweep of Emily's belongings. That night, analysts found small fibers on Emily's pajama sleeve, matching the gloves likely used to open the window. The possibility grew chilling. Was Emily not just a bystander, but involved? Then came another shock. A deleted video was recovered from Madison's phone. It showed her crying, whispering, "If anything happens, don't trust the girl next to me." Emily Carter wasn't who she claimed to be either. Detective Laura stared at the video in disbelief. Madison's warning wasn't vague, it was direct. Emily Carter, the quiet roommate with shaking hands and tearful eyes, had just become suspect number one. They dug into Emily's background. Her real name was Emily Langston, and she had grown up in the same Texas town where Madison's real name, Rachel Green, had testified in court. The two had attended the same high school. Emily had even interned briefly at the tech company where the CEO was accused. When Laura confronted her with this, Emily broke. "I didn't kill her," she sobbed. "Yes, I followed her here. I wanted answers. Rachel ruined my life." Emily claimed her father lost his job after Madison's testimony brought down the company. She destroyed families. She had to pay for what she did. But Emily swore she only wanted to confront her. "She begged me not to say anything. I left the room. She was alive when I fell asleep." Detectives were torn. Emily had motive and opportunity, but no solid evidence linked her to the death itself. Was someone else pulling the strings? Or was Emily the quiet storm no one saw coming? Just as the case seemed to tighten around Emily, an unexpected twist arrived. Hostile records revealed another visitor had signed in under a fake name, Jessica Holloway. Security footage showed her entering the hostel the night of Madison's death and heading straight toward the fire escape. She never signed out. Jessica, as it turned out, wasn't Rhea, but her face was facial recognition, identified her as Alicia Vega, a contract spy once employed by the same disgraced tech company. Now things were spiraling. Was Emily used as bait? Or was Madison being hunted by multiple people from her past? Detective Laura's theory changed. Madison knew they were closing in. That letter wasn't just a warning, it was a message to us. They issued a national alert for Alicia Vega. Meanwhile, Emily was released under surveillance, and Madison's final journal entry was leaked to the press. Even in a crowded room, I can feel them watching, waiting. If I vanish, don't believe it was natural. This wasn't over. This was a cover-up carefully planned, flawlessly executed, and far from finished. A tech intern working with SPD's cyber division found something chilling a nearby smart speaker in the hostel had captured fragments of audio. The device, left on standby in the next room, picked up muffled voices around 2:17 a.m. One whisper stood out, "You shouldn't have run." And then, a faint rustle, followed by silence. Detective Laura replayed it multiple times. It wasn't Emily's voice. It was deeper, male. Another voice, softer, possibly Madison's, said, "You don't have to do this." This was the break they needed. Security footage from the alley behind the hostel was enhanced, revealing a shadowy figure climbing the fire escape. And in a freeze frame, they caught the reflection of a man's face, Jeremy Fieldson, the same man who had lied about forgetting a wallet. Now they knew. Jeremy had gotten in. Emily may have followed Madison to Seattle out of obsession, but Jeremy came to finish what his employer started. And Madison, she died protecting secrets powerful enough to get her hunted across states. The storm was coming in now. It had a name. SPD set up a sting operation. They planted a story that Madison had handed off a USB drive to a third party containing encrypted evidence from the original trial. They hoped to lure the killer back out. Emily agreed to cooperate. Posing as the one who had the USB, she would return to the hostel for one final night. The room was wired, agents placed in nearby rooms, snipers across the alley. At 1:34 a.m., movement triggered the sensors on the fire escape. Jeremy, he moved silently, gloved hands disabling the window alarm. Inside, Emily pretended to sleep. Her heart pounded in her ears. He stepped toward her bunk, whispered, "You should have kept quiet like your friend." And that was the signal. Agents stormed in. Jeremy lunged but was tackled mid-move. Under interrogation, he cracked the tech company had paid him to track and silence Madison. She'd stolen files proving they'd buried decades of abuse cases. She was going to leak it. He said they couldn't risk it. Emily, though unstable, had nothing to do with the murder. She had only followed her past, not caused Madison's end. But guilt lingered. A week later, Emily stood alone outside Madison's quiet gravesite. Rain fell softly in Seattle as she placed a single daisy on the headstone. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Detective Laura stood nearby, watching. "You should leave town for a while. Start over." Emily nodded. "I don't even know who I am anymore." The story of Madison's murder made national headlines. The tech firm was exposed. Lawsuits poured in. But justice didn't feel like victory. For Emily, the mystery had unraveled, but the scars ran deep. She had shared a room with a woman hiding a dark past, and had unknowingly brought danger right to her bed. The hostel closed permanently. Locals still whisper about the girl who died beside her friend who slept through it all. Some believe Emily was lucky. Others say Madison's ghost walks the fire escape at night. But the truth was more terrifying than any ghost. Monsters wear business suits, and sometimes, death arrives as quietly as a whisper right next to you.